From Scripps Sports, this is Grizzly Insider, sponsored by Albertson Safeway.
Hello, everyone, and welcome into this week's episode of the Griz Insider here on the Montana Television Network. Alongside the voice of the Griz, Riley Corcoran, I'm Kyle Hansen, and we're your hosts as the Montana Grizzlies improved to 3-0 on the season with a 63-20 rout of Indiana State. And Riley, you kind of thought this might happen with this matchup with Indiana State because that's what happened 3 years ago, and just fun game all around for the Montana Grizzlies on a hot day in Washington Grizzly.
Yeah, perfect way to put it, Kyle. And this is a game when you have on your schedule and you look at the Big Sky opener next week, obviously the words trap game come into mind. And Montana did exactly what they were supposed to in this contest. And to me, I felt they improved from week to week. And that's something we're going to ask Coach Hauck about. But it was just wherever you want to start, offensively, defensively, there were numbers put up across the board. And I think a very well-rounded game that there's not much you can pick at and say, hey, that didn't go Montana's way. They dominated that one throughout.
100%. And credit to Kurt Mallory and his staff at Indiana State. They've done a nice job with that program, with the odds kind of stacked against them in the Missouri Valley. And when you're the Montana Grizzlies, as you mentioned, you want to do certain things, including win big, get guys in the mix, and then when you look in the details a little bit, not make mistakes. And for me, Kali'i Aya, we talk about him every single week, 22 for 27, 313 yards. He was as good as it gets and very efficient as well.
He was, Kyle. And if you go back to his second half against North Dakota and then put his numbers with the first half against Indiana State, mighty impressive. I mean, only 10 incompletions, over 400 yards passing, no interceptions. And I think ball security was really important for Montana. Call it what it is. Last year in the regular season, they only had 10 giveaways in 12 games. They had 5 in their first 2. They needed to clean that up. They did. They were better on third down. All of the little things that they were working on, the details were phenomenal. And then when you talk about Kali'i Aya being able to be so efficient, spread the ball around, we're seeing the deep passing. We're seeing him stand in the pocket. I think there was a throw early in the first half where he stood in there, was going to take a shot, delivered to Michael Wortham, and although those are the things that maybe go under the radar, that adds up to a really good day. 4th consecutive game, Kali'i Aya has broken his career high in passing yards.
Unbelievable. Yeah, he keeps developing in front of our eyes. A lot of fun to watch. Look at some of the other guys on offense too. Eli Gilman obviously doing what he does and just kind of being an unstoppable force at the FCS level. You mentioned Michael Wortham, Blake Bohannon having a great game, and we hope he's all right as well. Josh Gale getting his first touchdown as a Montana Grizzly, Jordan Deaver as well. A lot of guys kind of mix it around on offense, and then defensively too, you had to like what you saw on that side of the ball, especially after the early shot from Indiana State, and then they clamped down from there.
They did, and I think that Indiana State, they had it in their game plan to maybe pick on that secondary, and Montana was able to make the necessary adjustments. And I think that from the details for the Grizzly defense, they're continuing to put pressure on the quarterback, and that was something I think that we were really looking at to see could they improve. Only 1 sack in their first 2 games. They dialed up the pressure. They got to the Indiana State and in the backfield 3 different times, and then capped off by that defensive touchdown. First time in 20 games the Grizzlies scored on defense, and goes to show you they had a little more magic involved, and I think that's why this team is special.
I think when you look at games like this too, and we've talked about this off camera, when the blowout is on, you kind of get deeper in the game, it's fun to see some of the new faces get in the mix a little bit, right? And you know, we've had some games like that in the past where we see future stars make their mark. I think Eli Gilman back in 2022 when we first saw him play for the first time, and look at what he's become. The Tommy Running Rabbit moment was as special as it's been. I mean, just watching what he could do, knowing what it meant for that community, the state of Montana, and just knowing him as like a nice kid and just what he's been able to do. That was as cool a moment as I've ever seen in that stadium.
Kyle, I'm right there with you. I've been calling games for 10 years. I'm getting goosebumps and chills when you said Tommy Running Rabbit. And when he got in the game, got the carry, the way that the stadium erupted was different. It was the 4th quarter of a 50-point blowout, but yet people were engaged in that. And then to have that moment on 4th down, that was an incredible run. And for him to get in the end zone, first ever player to play from Browning for Montana, gets the Gates Scholarship. He's so well loved by his teammates, and that sideline reaction, you cannot duplicate. It's what college sports is all about. It was so awesome to see Tommy Running Rabbit have his moment and have his teammates embrace him like that.
As good as it gets, no doubt about it. So much fun. Shout out to Gage Slider, Talon Reynolds, Monty Gilman, some other guys getting in the mix as well. We've got a great show to break it all down here on the Griz Insider. Coming up after the break, Riley will catch up with head coach Bobby Hauck after this.
There's more Griz coverage online anytime at montanasports.com. Welcome back to Grizzly Insider, sponsored by Albertson Safeway.
Welcome back to the Griz Insider as Montana dominates Indiana State to improve to 3-0, top 5 ranking yet again as we get ready for Big Sky Conference action. Here to break it all down, head football coach Bobby Hauck, who we had some fun in the postgame. First time in your career, you're 100 games over 500. How about that for a number, coach? 141 and 41.
I'll say the same thing. I'm old. That's what the problem is.
No, a lot of wins racked up and a really fun day inside the stadium against Indiana State, 63-20. You told me throughout the course of the week that you wanted your team to improve again from week 2 to week 3. Where did you see those improvements, and what did you like most from that dominating win?
Well, I think that needs to continue to be the spirit of what we're doing, is to improve, play better every week. Again, I'll always go back right now, and probably you'll get tired of me over the upcoming weeks, but still have great inexperience on our team. We have to keep playing, keep getting better, but we played our best game of the year, which is all you can ask. So there's lots to fix. There always is, and we're going to keep trying to improve.
Well, how about on the offensive side of things, Coach? Your quarterback, Kale'i Ayat, just continued on his efficiency from the second half of North Dakota into the 2.5 quarters that we saw him in the game. A new career high again in passing, and obviously he let the offense go to work, and you had so many different weapons. But what can you say about the offense led by Kale'i?
Well, as you and Kyle both know, we've talked about it. I'm high on his potential, and he's starting to realize some of that. And so, it was good to see him take a step forward. I thought he did some really nice things in the game. He's a real student of it. He's trying hard to improve, and maybe he personifies that spirit of improvement that I'm talking about. So, good job by him. Good job by the guys around him. Yep. Yeah, it was a good performance.
And no turnovers in the game as well. A big-time improvement as well from game 2 to game number 3. And I know you well enough to know how much you love balance on the offensive side of the football. And you guys not only had over 600 yards of offense, Coach, one of the few times in program history you had over 300 yards passing and over 300 yards rushing. What can you say about the balance offensively? And obviously that rushing attack that was just vaulted all day long.
Well, that's obviously a lot of yards. Yeah. You start talking about putting up that type of yardage. It's not a yardage game. It's a points game. 49 straight points, as you mentioned. Yep. Anytime you can be balanced, you're going to be hard to stop.
And defensively, you guys stymied Indiana State for the majority of that game. They had just 7 points through 3.5 quarters, and just total domination. When you look at maybe the defensive side, you guys were flying around. You were active. You hit the quarterback early and often. 3 sacks, first defensive touchdown of the season. Great to see across the board. What stood out to you defensively?
Couple things. Continued growth. Yeah. I thought when the ball was snapped, they played fast. They looked fierce. Our defense is on the come a little bit, I believe. I think we're going to get better there too. Same answers I gave you on the offense a little bit. But the quarterback was trying to hang on to it and let routes develop. A week ago, the North Dakota quarterback wouldn't hang on to the ball. He was getting it out of his hands before we could. We shouldn't have rushed anybody because the ball was getting out before anybody could get off the ball. So this guy held it a little bit. He tried and paid for it a few times.
Yeah, he paid the price, no question, Coach. How great is that for the development of your roster to get nearly everyone I think you dressed into the game? So many cool moments. Tommy Running Rabbit getting his first touchdown. Gage Slider in at quarterback. It was just great to see across the board. But what's your thoughts on the entire roster and getting everybody in the game?
Well, we dressed quite a few guys, and most of them got in. I don't know the number that didn't, but those 2 guys you mentioned, good for Tommy, good for Gage, guys that are working hard every day, and Talon Reynolds got in. All these young guys that haven't played got a chance. That makes me happy.
Yeah, fun stories across the board and a lot of smiles, Coach. Final one for you. Big Sky play begins this week. The Idaho Vandals come to town in a top 10 matchup inside Washington Grizzly Stadium under the lights. Just your early look and thoughts on the excitement level of what a Saturday night will bring.
Well, I'm very excited to be 3-0 coming out of non-conference play. I knew what this team was, is that we need to develop, we need to improve. Didn't know how those early games would go. They went well. And now, into conference play is exciting. I think Idaho is very good, and we're going to have our hands full this weekend. But Friday night on national TV, be a very exciting night in the stadium if I can stay up that late.
We'll make sure, Coach. Maybe a nap, some coffee. We'll get it figured out. We cannot wait for the conference opener, 8:15 on Saturday night. On the other side of the break on the Griz Insider, Kyle will be joined by Josh Gale.
Get social with Grizzly fans and follow MTN Sports on Facebook, Instagram, and X. Welcome back to Grizzly Insider, sponsored by Albertson Safeway.
Welcome back into the Griz Insider, and we're very excited to be joined by senior tight end Josh Gale, who caught his first touchdown as a Montana Grizzly this past weekend against Indiana State. And Josh, first of all, thank you so much for being here. And, I guess we'll start with the 3 games as a Montana Grizzly. It's been a lot of fun and a lot of success in winning. Just what's it been like for you?
It's been so much fun. It's almost like a dream come true. From last year coming in here and getting the wrath of the fans, and then completely switching it to another season. Now you're getting all the love of the fans. It's completely different. It's an amazing experience.
I was going to say, was that something that you were really looking forward to? Because I imagine last year in November, when you were playing for UC Davis, it was a whole different experience than it was now.
It's very interesting because when you're on offense on the opposite team, you cannot hear anything. Mm-hmm. You're sitting there, you're trying to make calls, and you can't hear anything. All game week, you're preparing for that. And then now that you play on offense for the Griz, it's mellow. You know exactly what's going on. You're used to it, and it's a great experience.
That's awesome. Mm-hmm. So let's talk about these first couple of games. And before we get to Indiana State, I've got to talk to you about that 4th down conversion against North Dakota that you and Kay Lee had, because really it was both of you guys and the whole offensive unit making a play happen as you guys kept that drive alive and then ultimately hit the game winner. So from your perspective, what happened on that play, and just what was it like to be part of that moment as you guys were completing that comeback against the Fighting Hawks?
Well, first of all, it was just an amazing play by the quarterback. He was able to scramble out. Amazing protection by the O-line, just making sure that we got the ball out. 4th and 12, not a great situation you want to be in, but we were running I was running a corner route. Corner was sitting right over top. I came back down. He saw the quarterback scramble. He bid on it. I found the open spot, and he was able to find me.
That's awesome. I mean, in that moment, I know you guys are it's frantic and whatnot, but did you kind of realize in the moment, oh, we just kept this alive, and then obviously the very next play hit the touchdown?
In those moments, you're just all right, we need to just keep going downfield and stuff like that. And so you don't realize it until afterwards. You make it to the sideline, you're like, oh shoot, that was 4th and 12. That's insane. And then the very next play, double move by Brooks, and he just scores a touchdown. It's a surreal moment.
It's a lot of fun to watch. Now let's pivot to Indiana State. You catch your first touchdown as a Grizzly, and I don't know if I've ever seen a wide receiver or tight end be more open in their career. Can you walk us through that play, and did you kind of have to sit around and look around for a minute? Because you didn't move or anything. You're just right there to catch the ball.
It was also a very funny experience because running the corner route, because a little bit earlier ran a quarterback draw. Safety ran with me. Nice, easy touchdown for Kelly, and then a couple drives later, run a corner out again. Safety didn't want to bite on me just in case it was another quarterback draw. Just left me wide open. It was very funny.
The game as a whole against Indiana State, because so many guys got in the game, so many guys made plays in the game, with a big blowout like that. Just what was that experience like as a whole to, kind of jump on them from the gates and then obviously get to kind of cruise down the stretch?
So every game, this was definitely an execution game where we wanted to make sure that we were assignment sound and that we just got the job done. We went into halftime. The ones were still going to go out after half, and they were telling us we need to execute and make sure that we don't let off the gas at all. And so once we got that job done, we get to watch all of our buddies go in and play, and that's a really fun experience because you get to see some people who maybe get their first snaps in a game. It's such a great feeling just to watch him play. I was asking my buddy how he was feeling. He was just so happy.
That's awesome. It was fun to watch, obviously, and seeing all those guys get in the mix. Now, when we pivot to your story, coming here from UC Davis, having played there for a number of years, a lot of success that you guys had the last season as well. Just for your college football career, what's it been like? Kind of your development and obviously coming to a new team and your development this year. How would you maybe describe all of that?
There's been lots of ups and downs in my journey, but just the development I've had there, they really got me to where I am now, and so I'm really thankful for that. Being able to learn new stuff in the pass game, work on the run game, and then did my 4 or 5 years there, and then I transferred here, and just being able to sharpen those skills and then help this offense with those skills.
For you, it's interesting too because life after football is also kind of moving along, right? I understand that you're married as well, and so you guys make this move out to Missoula, and then after your time at UC Davis, just what's that been like? Kind of, knowing some things are kind of moving all Josh Gale right now. Catch a touchdown, life seems pretty good.
Yeah, life's great, man. Every time after a possession, I'll just be, I'll be yelling on the sideline. It's a good day to be a Griz. Great day to be a Griz. And life's continuing moving. My amazing wife, every every night she's there for me. If having trouble in the day or something like that, she's there to support me, and it's just great.
For you, as you kind of move forward here with the Grizzlies, what's the biggest thing you're kind of trying to still improve on, squeeze out, and obviously keep improving each game with Montana?
Well, obviously every week there's a chance for your team to improve. So every practice that we go, we need to make sure the offense is continuing to work to improve, whether it's just 1%. If we continue to improve, our offense will be great.
No doubt about it. Well, Josh, it's been a lot of fun to watch. Thanks so much for joining us here on the show.
Yeah, sure thing. Thank you.
Absolutely. Coming up, Riley will rejoin me here on the Griz Insider to look ahead to the Idaho Vandals.
Welcome back to Grizzly Insider, sponsored by Albertson Safeway.
Welcome back into the Griz Insider. Great stuff there from Bobby Hauck and Josh Gale to recap the Indiana State game. And Riley, now we can turn our attention to Big Sky Conference, and you couldn't ask for a better game to start this off with a rivalry game against Idaho, who last week we circled as a team that might have an FBS win. They almost did it for the second time this year, and the Vandals are the real deal.
They are, Kyle. They're a top 10 team, and they certainly have proven that so far. Their 2 losses have come against FBS teams and lost on a last-second field goal. They had a 7-point lead against San Jose State this last weekend. San Jose State obviously able to score 10 unanswered points at the very end. But that goes to show you this Idaho team, they are tested already. I mean, Washington State on the road should have been able to win that game early on, and then decent results. I would say against FCS teams, they beat Utah Tech. That game was more of a defensive battle. Then you go to the other side, St. Thomas, an offensive battle. I think that they have proven they can win different styles of games. That's obviously a really big calling card for them, and I know it's very early, but could we be seeing maybe a de facto Big Sky Conference championship game early? That's going to remain to be seen down the line, but it's very proven at least that these are 2 of the top contenders.
Biggest question mark coming into the season was what they would look like without Jason Eck moving on to New Mexico. Thomas Ford Jr. doing a very nice job, and there was a lot of excitement around him as well. And it all starts with Joshua Wood at quarterback, right? The Fresno State transfer, true dual threat quarterback. He has picked up the reins at quarterback, and that offense is humming behind him.
They are, and he's feisty too. They play with an edge, and it's different. And I mean that as a compliment. They go from Jason Eck to Thomas Ford in that era, and you're thinking, okay, what's Idaho going to look like? They're an edgy team. They play with passion, and that's going to be quite the combination when you consider under the lights, Washington Grizzly Stadium, national TV, national spotlight, all of that considered. But there's no question, Joshua Wood's the straw that stirs the drink for their offense, and if it turns into that type of a shootout game, we could be seeing a great quarterback duel with Wood and Ayat.
We have to laugh about New Mexico as well, because we do dub them the Big Sky All-Stars with so many Big Sky Conference players there, but Idaho did retain quite a few guys on this team as well. You look at their O-line, D-line, some of those guys been with the program for multiple years. They know the new culture of Idaho, right? Because obviously the Grizzlies didn't see him last year, which was a bummer. I'm not going to lie. Once Idaho beat Montana in 22, the rivalry felt revitalized, right? And it's exciting to see this game on the schedule now. Obviously the Little Brown Stein is up for grabs, but when you look at the defensive side, Isaiah King, Dylan Lane, Matthias McLean, these are guys who've been with the program, have developed in this program, and now are big-time difference makers.
And you see Idaho now, they have a defensive identity. They are tough. They're hard-nosed, and when they get in the physical nature of a football game, they're usually the ones that come out on top. They know who they are. They control the clock. Last week against San Jose State, 39 minutes time of possession. Their defense, they're fresh when they come on the field, and those 3 that you mentioned, watch out. It's going to be just star power against star power in this game. I'm fired up. The hardest part, Kyle, we've said this only a couple times throughout the year, but the hardest part's going to be waiting and trying to get to Saturday.
And you just couldn't ask for a better test to start conference play, right? Because the Grizzlies will play 3 conference games. They'll have the Sacred Heart game in the mix. But, you start off tough against Idaho coming off some of the games they hadn't. I mean, this is a good measuring stick as you keep going.
Yeah, and I think as Montana continues to improve from game 1 to game 2, we saw the improvement from North Dakota to Indiana State. They are going to need to improve again if they want to beat a top 10 team. And what could this do for Montana? Another springboard to begin conference play. I think the conference is for the taking right now. There's not that one dominant team. I think the winner of this game, whoever it is going to think that they're the conference favorites when it's all said and done.
Big Sky play is finally here, and we're fired up to have it here. We'll wrap up the Griz Insider next. Well, Big Sky play is here for all sports at the University of Montana. And Riley, when you look at soccer and volleyball, they are also humming. It's going to be excited to see how things shake out.
Winning is contagious within the athletic department right now, Kyle. Leading into the weekend, 14 consecutive wins from Grizzly soccer, Grizzly volleyball, and Grizzly football. So I think that all of them are eager to get into Big Sky Conference play. How about Grizzly volleyball? 8 consecutive wins after that 0-3 start. Longest winning streak in over 30 years. Very happy for Allison Lawrence, her crew. They'll open with Sacramento State on Thursday night, of course, and then Grizzly soccer continuing to roll, and they begin a really tough Big Sky Conference slate. I'm excited. I'm ready for Big Sky play to be here.
It's going to be a lot of fun. Obviously, Grizzly football, 8:15 kickoff against Idaho under the lights at Washington Grizzly Stadium, and we'll be back here next week to recap it all on the Griz Insider. Have a great weekend.